Hi, I'm Erin, and this is our meaning Alex and Christina's video for our group project. First of all, I'd like to explain the situation. We are giving a sales pitch at the expo about why our app is the best app on the market for the bungee jump. And to do that, I feel like we should explain a few things. The first of which, the physics behind the bungee jump with reference to gravitational energy, kinetic energy, and elastic energy. Gravitational energy is influenced by multiple factors. In a bungee jumping scenario, only one of those is changing throughout the jump, the height, while the others remain constants, mass and gravity. Since the height is decreasing throughout the fall, the gravitational energy decreases and is transformed into kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is influenced by the ever-changing velocity and mass, meaning that the velocity is changing, not the mass. So as the jumper falls farther, the jumper falls faster, which is, changing velocity. Elastic energy is influenced by the spring constant and the distance the cord is stretched. As the cord stretches, the energy changes from gravitational energy to kinetic energy to elastic energy. And the bar charts show the energy changing from gravitational energy to kinetic energy to elastic energy at each of the stated positions. And our app handles various inputs and outputs. And while certainly not the most unique outlook of this, we divided the categories into two. So there are inputs that change per jumper, height and weight, and the permanent inputs, the height of the jump, the unstretched cord length, spring constant, the buffer zone, and the no-go zone. The outputs are also in two categories: the outputs needed for the amount of spring added and the amount of string added. Now, our app is very user-friendly. It's aimed to protect the privacy of the jumpers and of our users. Our app does have a rather generic name, Blind Eye, to disguise its usage to make it seem like our app doesn't have anything to do with people's safety. Could you imagine if someone hacked the app and changed all the heights to that of a small child? The jumper could die and the park could easily be sued. It also offers a reminder to the user to make sure that they know the consequences of entering false information. Our app is easy to navigate and will make an excellent addition to the ride. It's also prudent for us to explain the forward versus stretch of the elastic cord graph and the significance of its slope. When the distance the cord is stretched doubles, the force also doubles. In this case, the spring constant would be a constant, since the spring constant doesn't change as you stretch it. The energy So as we all know, the total energy of a system stays the same. Even in the case of thermal energy, where the energy seemingly vanishes, it is spread to the molecules surrounding the reaction. So the energy is still there. In a system that does not account for friction and air resistance, the energy stays within the directly mentioned system. As one level of energy changes, the other energies involved take the energy and transform it into their own energy. This is our guest participant. She's a highly evolved member of our group. This is the kitten, our boss and overseer. So, in order to use the graph and the bar charts to predict the stretch of the bungee cord, you have to understand the graph and the bar charts. Otherwise, it would just be staring at charts and graphs. Which, as intriguing as that would be, I highly doubt that is something that would make sense to a lot of people. Together, though, and with the basic understanding of them, then you can use those to predict the structure of the bungee cord. And by that, I mean you can see how the elastic energy changes based on the bar charts, and you follow the graph in the line of best fit. You can combine those two, and you know how far this stretches the bungee. And all the equations used are backed by Professor Google and Assistant Teacher YouTube. They work by having baseline data already in the app, programmed when the ride first comes online, and then by having the jumper input their weight and height, or by having the person operating the ride directly input those. Names are not inserted into the app to allow the jumper to maintain their privacy, and the equations coded into the app so the outputs adjust accordingly to the person's weight and height. For example, I'm going to quickly switch to the application itself. Where we start with the jumper's height, which the jumper's height directly influences how much string you're going to need, because a small child will be able to fall farther without the risk of busting their head open. Whereas an adult, well, they can't fall the same distance as the child because the height of the jump is only so far, and you have to account the person's height within that. And so the app does that directly without needing each jump individually calculated. But by like person, you just insert their data into the application. Apparently, our overseer does not appreciate me doing our performance task. No, she does not. In order to make our app blind eye successful, we wanted to make sure that the employee of the ride would be able to get a little bit of their moral sense of humor stated while the app loaded. It also serves as a reminder that should the customer's data not be entered correctly, the customer has a high chance of dying. It is always better to up the numbers than to lower them, because that could lead to the customer banging their head into the ground and making their brain a permanent fixture on the landing apparatus. We also wanted the user to only need to input a few bits of the customer's information in order for the customer themselves to have a lower wait time, which should improve our ratings. Our app is useful because it makes it fast, easy, and painless to determine the amount of cord needed per jumper. Since the cord comes in predetermined sizes, we find the best fit without going over the recommended string size. Instead of each calculation taking several minutes, at best hours at worst, the application calculates it in a matter of seconds. Yeah, I'm not sure if you actually got to see our overseer, but here she is. See? Overseer.